Hi, I'm Ashley Hawkins, and I am the manga librarian. And today we're going to talk about what I read this week. So, this week I've read a fair amount of things. I am mostly focused this week on stuff that was on my NetGalley shelf. And that's because, some things were being kind of archived this week. You have to kind of be on top. I'm addressing librarians, so I'm assuming a lot of you have NetGalley shelves. So you know that you've got to kind of stay on top of your NetGalley shelf, or it can get out of control. And especially you want to avoid things getting archived, because then you don't get the chance to, preview them. Especially with things that are in graphic novel format, because they will lock down at a certain point. So that is what I kind of focused on this week. I didn't read as much as I read last week. I also have not watched any anime this week except for episode 2 of Fairy Ranmaru. There's actually a lot of really great things this week, or this season, I should say. And I just don't have the time right now to read them, because there's a lot of things going on, just in terms of actual work. And so I have to, do my job as a school librarian, so that's just what it is. So I can't just sit around and watch anime. Reading manga is actually way easier, because I can set it aside and then just pick it back up, and it's actually less time consuming because I read manga way faster than I watch anime. So I was going to say that I might catch up this weekend, but Shadow and Bone comes out this weekend, and I'm super hyped, and I really want to watch it. And there's a good chance that this Saturday I am just going to turn on Shadow and Bone and just do that. So it is what it is. So that's the current state of things. I don't know how much manga I'm going to read within this next week, because I'm going to be doing something that I'll talk more about maybe next week, where I'm going to be doing a manga challenge in May. And so I need to kind of bank some stuff so that I have it available for May. Not that there isn't plenty of manga to read. But who knows, maybe I'll go back a little bit, or maybe I'll talk a little bit about, maybe I will have time to watch some anime. I don't know, we'll see what I do next week. But let's talk about this week. So this week, I read, we'll start off with the physical volumes that I had delivered from France. If you may or may not know this, the French market is better than the American market, than the English market, I should say. Way more gets localized in French. There's a variety of reasons for it. There is just in general, I don't know. American markets tend to have a particular focus on things that are a little less esoteric, a little less, I don't know. Everything's very mainstream in terms of what gets localized in English. So we get a lot of shonen, we get a lot of battle type stuff. And in French, they are just so much more open to everything. way more artsy, more, like I said, esoteric, more avant-garde sort of manga gets published in French. There definitely are publishers in English that are more open to avant-garde manga and artsy manga and things that are a little bit more fringe. And even this isn't super fringe. It's just not, I don't know. It's not Naruto. I don't know. Anyway, this is, in French, it is La Gameuse et son chat. And it's in its original Japanese, it's Neko Karashi no Gamasan. The English subtitle that they use is Life with a Cat in Games. But I think literally it translates to a gamer living with a cat. So, and in French it's a gamer and a cat, a gamer and her cat. So what this is about is a gamer living with a cat. It's a 29-year-old office lady who one day brings home an adorable kitten, sort of impulsively, and just kind of their hijinks and living together. And it's super sweet. It's really beautifully illustrated. What drew me to Naratani Sensei was her illustrations. I believe I found her on Twitter just based on her illustrations, because she regularly posts them, and I am frequently on Japanese Twitter, specifically in the cat hashtags, looking at cat illustrations. So that's my fixation. I mean, you can probably see I have cat illustrations hanging up everywhere. I'm very lucky that my husband is also into cats, so he does not mind. He was actually just talking with a friend of ours and kind of showing him around, because I recently, actually hung things up, and he was kind of he was taking his computer around and showing a friend, and he's like, oh, it's a good thing. He's like, oh, I didn't know you guys were such dog people. So, it's just my fixation is cats. I've talked about this before. I recently found out that I've been diagnosed with autism. So a lot of things are making more and more sense. And this is one of them. I have an obsession with cats, and have had an obsession with cats since I was a kid. And this has been like a fixation. Drawings of cats, stuffed cats, cat figures, cat. Since I was a kid, and now it all makes way more sense. This is the more I'm reading, the more I'm understanding. So I spend a lot of time on those hashtags and retweeting and follow. If you follow my Twitter, you know that I frequently retweet cat things. So yeah, this really hit a perfect nerve, because she draws these beautiful illustrations of cats, and they're usually video game adjacent, and that's a perfect marriage of things that work for myself and my husband. And it just was because I also my husband does a lot of writing for video, my husband does video game stuff, and so because I know basic Japanese, I actually will frequently find things for him about video games in Japanese. So this was when this fell into my lap, I was like, oh my god, it's perfect, and I handed it over to him. And this is just I love this series so much. So I spend a lot of time trying to get this brought over in English. Every month I submit to 7Cs because they have like a thing like, oh, if you want a manga localized, submit the title. So I submit this title because I want it localized in English. I do read it in Japanese. It takes a lot of time. It comes out every Tuesday on Sunday Webry, even though it's called Sunday, but whatever. Sunday Webry is kind of a Japanese web magazine. So it comes out every Tuesday, and then I'll sit there with, my Japanese dictionary and my basic understanding, and I will sit there and I will read, and it takes me a while, but it's what I do, and it makes me happy. And yeah. Yes. Like I said, it's not available in English. If you have patrons who speak French, this is a great one to get. If you're in Canada, perfect. I had to have this shipped via Amazon France because I couldn't get it shipped from anywhere else. The shipping cost more than the 2 volumes of manga because things are kind of... Shipping things is not fun right now. I source a lot of things from overseas when I have them physically delivered. So they come from Japan, Korea, and France. Although this is probably the first thing I've ordered from France in ages. Now, I do read and speak French, and my French is way better than my Japanese. Just because my kanji is terrible. My literacy is shaky in Japanese. Like I said, I have to sit there with a dictionary. In French, I don't. Whatever. The point being, so getting this in French was actually easier. It means I can kind of read this a little bit more casually, and I can get a little bit more depth of meaning than I did the first time because it's an easier read in French, and it's just super, super cute. I highly recommend it if you can read French. The illustrations are so precious. Oh my god. He's sleeping on the joystick. If my husband ever caught one of our cats doing this, he would flip out. But yeah, it's really adorable illustrations. Also, just it's the protagonist is a woman in her late 20s. This is a josei series. This is for me, it's just a great thing. I think it does have like an appeal though to younger audiences based on the video game content. It really goes in depth into video game culture, especially Japanese video game culture. And I'm picking up some French vocabulary that I didn't know because I didn't know a lot of video game French vocabulary. So it's teaching me a little bit too, which is fun. So that's what I got in physical volumes for myself. So let's talk about what I read in galley form. We're going to start off with talking about the new Jinji Ito, which actually just came out yesterday. So let me switch over here. Okay. And here we go. Sorry, OBS was being a little bit difficult. So I'm on the free preview from Viz. This is just pointing out that Viz will show you free previews of their forthcoming volumes. I read this. It's the new story collection from Jinji Ito. He's been coming out, they've been coming out with new story collections from him on a very regular basis. And they're all super solid. This one was really good. The story collections are, generally speaking, a good option for school libraries because they tend to be fairly safe in terms of Jinji Ito content. They're still pretty gory. They're still pretty violent. They're still Jinji Ito. But they don't quite get to that level of intensity, such as like the like No Longer Human got to. And also this one features like high school age protagonists. I really liked so this one starts off with like a 4-chapter main story, which is love sickness. I really liked it, and I'm not going to go too in depth because I feel like the strength of a Junji Ito story is not really knowing where it's going. And so I'm not going to go too in depth, but I really liked this main story and its direction. I don't know. I really love Junji Ito stuff. It's really interesting. The storyline's really interesting, and I think it says some interesting things. It's spooky. It's got its own sort of beauty to it. Yeah. I highly recommend this collection. I think this collection's a good one for a school library. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to spoil things. Like I said, it is still Junji Ito, though. It is going to be gory. This is really just high school, is it? You don't want this in a middle school. It's just a little too intense at that level. And there's just certain content that's just not really middle school appropriate in this particular volume. So that's love sickness. I'm going to talk probably next week about horror manga, and Junji Ito is going to be a big part of it because he's probably the horror mangaka who gets published the most in English. So when you talk about horror manga, you have to talk about Junji Ito. Okay, so let's talk about the next one that I read, which is Girlfriend by Hiroyuki. This is actually the mangaka who is behind Aho Girl. So what I've been doing is, because it just kind of helps me to kind of think about a volume as I'm going through it, I've been kind of live tweeting as I go through these preview volumes. And I liked this more than I thought I was going to. I will say Hiroyuki, like, he's very over the top in terms of his the emotions like really bubble over in his artwork and in his stories, and things are very intense, and that's what makes it kind of work. The storyline in this manga is kind of ridiculous, and the thing is, I liked this. I don't know if I'm gonna purchase it for the library. It just kind of pushes certain things really to the edge, and I'll kind of show you a little bit from what I screenshot. So the basic storyline is that there's this male protagonist who has a girlfriend who he really loves and worships and thinks is just the best. He's been confessing his love to her ever since they were elementary school students, and they're just a really cute couple, and there's just like this high intensity between them, and it's really cute. But then this other super cute girl confesses her love to him, and she is so super cute and so endearing and so wonderful that he the way the character is structured is that he is somebody who cannot deny his own feelings, and can't they say he's straight as an arrow. So he can't deny his feelings. He can't betray what he feels. So he always goes according to how he feels. So he sees what a wonderful girl this new girl is, and he decides that the best idea is to try and date both of them at the same time. So, and like I said, it's one of those things that this only works because of the mangaka style. It's a really ridiculous plotline. And she actually kind of is winning them both over with this thing. But obviously, you know, the original girlfriend is not okay with his suggestion, and he comes up with this plot that to try and convince them both. And they wind up living together really just for a night. And then there's like all these jokes about potential threesomes. And it gets kind of, I don't know. But, you know, there is like constant acknowledgement, like, yeah, this is a really selfish situation. But ultimately, like, this is clearly, although it's set in high school, this is clearly for adults. It's just the sense of humor is really about the ridiculousness of the situation, and it's one that I might keep reading because it's so ridiculous, and I think the mangaka is making a certain point about the inherent selfishness of the male protagonist, but because I don't know. It doesn't quite portray like polyamory or anything like that in a positive way. Like at first I almost thought it was going into like this sort of, are they going to be a throuple sort of thing? Like what's going on here? I don't think this is bad, but there's definitely some weird stuff going on. It is its own type, like this is like this very these type of farces, these you know, romantic comedy farcical situations, they're a fairly common thing in shonen and seinen. So I think this is a seinen story. I have to see where it ran originally to know for sure, but it has a seinen feel, and I think Aho Girl was seinen. It's just a little bit more on the edge in terms of the sexual humor. I don't know. It has a certain level of comedy to it, but I don't know. I just I don't see myself selecting it for the library for various reasons. Maybe for a public library collection, it'd be fine, but not for my library. Unless things shift in volume 2, but even then, I don't know, with a lot of the sexual jokes. I think it's a manga, though, that students will probably find on their own and will be into, and I think it'll eventually be an anime. And it'll probably be a very popular anime. Moving along. So, Chasing After Aoi Koshiba is a title that I was really looking forward to and that I got really disappointed in. So I was really looking forward to this mostly because it looked so cute, and I don't know, there was something about the concept that sounded really great, but so this is a Yuri manga, meaning that it's about a relationship between two girls, and it's actually set in two time periods. It's set during the protagonist's second year of high school, which is actually, because of the way that Japanese high school is set up, would be a junior in high school, so 11th grade, and then their third year of university during an alumni meeting of their high school. And it's kind of about their relationship with this girl. And I was really looking forward to it, and then I found out, I mean, the main problem is that the main character is super superficial. And I know that part of the character growth is that she's going to become less superficial and probably learn that being the way she is not great. She's like really into Instagram. She is all about outward appearance. She's hypercritical of other girls. At one point, she fat shames this honestly super cute girl who happens to have 2 extra pounds on her, which is apparently a horrible sin, but look at her. Like, look at her. She's adorable. How dare you? And also is apparently, like, as you read it, is the super sweet character who is in the home ec club. And they're just kind of talking. I don't know. And then also the first kiss between the characters is the main character literally jumps the love interest, and yeah, I don't know. I get that it's setting up for a lot of character growth and everything, and it might be kind of a slow burn as you kind of watch this very superficial, very vain main character turn into something else. I feel like I've read this before, and I think I've read it done a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe I need to read volume 2, get a better feel. But right now, just part of the problem is that, she's the point of view character, and like hearing some of these things like this fat shaming and stuff like that, it just really turns me off. And so I wasn't happy. Okay, so yeah, but luckily, a wonderful, delightful shoujo manga came to save the day, and it is And Yet You Are So Sweet. And this manga is so cute, and I cannot wait for volume 2. And it's really, really sweet. It starts off with the main character confessing her love to this guy she likes, and he then proceeds to trash talk her on Twitter. And basically says terrible things about her. And she is, get this, she's a library aide. She works in the library as like her volunteer work. So at her school, it's a school library. She's a school library aide. So a lot of this manga takes place in a school library. So like immediately, first off, it distracted me almost. I was so excited because this is, the library is actually kind of a common setting for things to happen in manga, but it's not like a core setting. But because, I'll get into it. So, she's at her library aide job, and she is just doing things, and she kind of is talking to herself when another boy who is a library aide overhears her talking to herself about like the miserable experience she had, and he tells her that she needs to just have a one-sided love for him. And she takes it as like him being nice and giving her just kind of something else to focus on, but it's like very obvious that he's had a thing for her for a while, and he's like taking the opportunity. I mean, come on, girl, read some shoujo manga. And it's just super cute. A lot of stuff happens in the library. It's super cute. And a lot of really common things happen. As I was reading this, I had to stop for a little bit for reasons. So it is so nice to just read a normal shoujo manga with very shoujo manga things, and it's sweet and refreshing to read, and it happens to be in a setting that I like, and I just really enjoyed it. So that's really it. I just really liked this. I really liked this. That's it. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to volume 2. I hope it comes out soon. Yeah, it's been a while since I've picked up a shoujo manga and just vibed with it. Especially one that's like a traditional shoujo manga. So I was very excited, and it was very refreshing after, I'd been kind of disappointed by chasing after Aoi Koshiba, because I've been more into like Yuri manga and Yuri stories, and it was kind of disappointing. I don't know. So that's what I read this week. This went pretty long. I think I talked too much, but I'm going to wrap it up here. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.